Hey everybody, we're back and I'm with Mark. Mark works for one of my favorite companies, Natural Balance, which was started by Dick Van Patten.
1989.
1989, who I have to tell you, he's getting older now.
He is.
And a few years ago, he was here. He was in the store.
Yep.
Because he used to do that a lot. He used to go travel around to the retailers. And I'm not going to say that he was senile, but he walked around the store, kept asking like 15 times, "Hi, you want my autograph?" "Hi, you want my autograph?"
Did you take it?
No, I didn't. A couple of the girls got it because they felt bad for the guy. It was like, oh my. But meanwhile, he and his team, he's not really a pet food guy, but they came out with some great foods.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
And Mark is in the store doing demos and stuff. So what makes Natural Balance different than, or better, or whatever from many other foods?
Well, the first thing I would like to say with Natural Balance is we're really focused on dogs with allergies. And Dick Van Patten first created a product. It was our duck and potato. Now, the duck and potato is what they call a limited ingredient diet. And what that is they take kind of all the fluff out of the food, and they put just your proteins, your vegetables, and minerals, and they kind of take out the different products, the wheats and the glutens, because we are grain-free, that may affect the dog with allergies. So he started really for the allergy formulas to help dogs that have allergies. And what we're seeing is now that the designer dogs type things, where there's a lot of breeding or mixing in different types of dogs, all those issues from separate breeds are being brought into one dog. So dogs are developing more allergies than never seen before, as you know, with you've seen it also with your food.
Right.
So the allergy formulas are really where we're focused.
Right.
And the duck and potato is the #1.
That's the #1.
Correct.
Far.
Correct.
Right.
We've now come out with we have a fish, we have a bison, we have a venison, we have a chicken, all in the limited ingredient line. And that's unique for us because a lot of the different food companies, which have great products, don't offer the variety that we offer.
Right.
And what's nice with our formulas, which I have not seen with other companies, is, as you can see, we have a dry food right here, which is our duck and potato.
Yep. I'll hold it.
If the dog is really working well on it, we can offer it as a wet food also and not be deviating from the ingredient list.
Right.
The third thing is, if you still want to give a snack and your dog's on allergies, you end up buying some other product. It may have something else in it. Kills the reason why you're doing so well.
Right.
So what Dick Van Patten did, he goes, we need to stay so we can offer everything.
Right.
So we actually offer the same flavor in our snacks. So now you can stay in there and not, you know, because everyone wants to give a treat to a dog.
Sweet potato and
venison. Sweet potato and venison.
Right.
So we can stay in that line, and a lot of folks like that because they love giving dogs treats.
Right.
But a lot of times they wouldn't think about the treat, and now their allergies are kicking back up, and they're not sure why.
The biggest problem that we have as the retailer is customers walk in. So, you know, we spend 20 minutes convincing them, or not convincing them, but going through all the food and say, okay, use the duck and sweet potato or venison, whichever one they want to use, and then they buy milk bones, or they buy something that just completely undoes
what you're trying to do with the food.
And say, it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the one thing we really struggle with is they buy the food, or they'll be on another food, and it's doing pretty good for the dog. Because there's a lot of other formulas out there that may work. It may not be our product, maybe it's your product. But then they go to the snacks, or they go to the wet food, which is completely different again. And what happens is the dog, now they're struggling with changing the food every 2 weeks because it's not working.
So let me just, Mark is a very good guy, and he's very humble about the company. These guys really invented the whole, you started the whole limited ingredient
and the allergy formula.
The allergy formula.
Yes, we did.
And if you ever come in the store, and Mark is in the store, he's you can tell he's a very low-key guy. There are other formulas, different companies, they're good foods. But these guys really, they're the innovators, they're the...
we started the whole wave.
Right, and this is really important. The food is reasonably expensive.
Yes.
And the reason that it's reasonably expensive, and I know this now because I manufacture my own food, is the ingredients are insane.
Yes.
And you wouldn't think about this, but there is a lamb shortage. You can't get venison. I mean, you guys must have locked up the and you know why you can't get venison? Because all the venison comes from New Zealand.
Correct.
None of it's here. right? So it's not the roadkill you see that they take and they put into the food. So what happened was the prices, there were so many deer, the price of venison a couple years ago, the bottom fell out of the market. The price of venison went down, so they slaughtered the deer.
Right.
Well, then all of a sudden, people realized that venison is a great source of protein. You know, it's low in this and low in that. The demand for venison skyrockets.
Unique protein source.
There's no venison because they killed the
Except
herds.
For us.
So now they have to build back up the herds,
Yep.
right? Same thing.
Right.
So it's the same deal with bison. It's
Yep.
the same deal with duck.
Yeah, all our unique proteins.
All
and we're
unique
fortunate
proteins.
because
Right.
Dick Van Patten and with his company he went out and contracted
Right.
farmers like in
Right.
New Zealand, said,
Right.
we'll buy from you, we know how you raise your food. We're very strict on his sourcing.
Yeah.
And like some of the other companies, one of the great things with Natural Balance is there's a code on every bag.
Yeah.
You can go to the website and type in that code, and it'll tell you all the product sourcing and the testing all the way through, which, you know, it's great to know that a company is so geared towards showing the consumer where it's been tested and what's been tested for all the way up, because, you know, with all the different recalls that happen in the pet food world over the years, it's nice to know you have a guaranteed product.
Right.
So we're lucky to have the venison because we're contracting from a farmer who can't sell to anybody else like you.
So now, yeah, no, I mean, I just can't
Right.
get it. You can't, and now there's a shortage of lamb meal. There's a shortage of all these proteins. The canned food is, for me, and I think, I don't know, I'll get your opinion. I think more and more people are going to start using canned food, hopefully, because it's a great way to keep weight off dogs.
Yes, and we're seeing a volume increase with the canned food. I don't know why, but pet owners for a long time thought that wet food was actually going to make their dogs heavier.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I don't want to give wet food. I don't want to give wet food. It's really just the opposite. It's and you get a better moisture content. You get a little bit more water source into it, and you get a good protein source. You know, and like you make it 98%. Sometimes if you just need protein, it's a great way to go without the dry food product.
So let me explain. I think we might run a little bit long on this because this is a good one. You may, I don't care whose can you buy. I don't care if it's Natural Balance, if it's Dave's, if it's Wellness. I don't care whose it is. It's 76 to 78% moisture. So if you took all the moisture, so what happens is you give your dog a can of this, it's a huge amount of moisture.
Correct.
So if you cut down the dry and you add cans, the dogs take in fewer calories. It's just
Science.
Right? Science.
Right.
Right. So people say, oh, I don't want to give, it's going to get my dog fat. It's the other way around. There's more calories in the dry food than there is in the canned food. So now tell me how, if my dog has, we figure out my dog has food allergies and we have to go to a vet and get tested, right? You got to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yep.
And it ain't cheap, right?
Yes,
and then I come and why do I want to go to something like a duck or a venison? Why can't I just go with a chicken or whatever?
As you know, chicken and the beef, they're the highest proteins for allergies because they've been in the market for so long. That was the original two food sources in dog foods. And animals have developed the allergies to those proteins. So the big thing with going into allergies is you have to find unique proteins that animals have not got accustomed to and built a tolerance to. And that's why you're seeing the venisons, the bisons, the duck, which are all lean proteins, so you're taking the fat out of it, but yet you're getting good proteins. That has to be the way it is with the with the proteins.
Right. Now, last week on the show we had Lindy from Nutriska from Dogswell.
Yes.
So Nutriska has the no potato.
Correct.
Right. So it's the lower glycemic index.
Right.
So I think it's very important that when you look at a bag of because anyone who was watching the show last week, and there were millions of people, I think 4.3 million people was the Nielsen report watched. People, that's a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
I think I just made that up. But anyway, you guys don't use regular potato.
We use sweet potato.
And what's the difference?
Sweet potato
is yellow, is orange.
Yeah, besides being orange, it's one of the superfoods because it's got all the antioxidants, it's got all the better stuff in it than a potato, better carbohydrate.
Right.
So it's easily digestible, but it's good for the dog.
Right.
Healthy skin. It just has a lot of better nutrition in it.
Right. And guess what, folks? There is a shortage of American-grown sweet potatoes. Can you believe it?
Yes, because everyone's starting to realize the nutritional value of a sweet potato. They're starting to put it into their foods. So you're
Right.
starting to see a lot more companies coming out with it.
Right.
But again, we were one of the innovators of using sweet potato, so we have a better market, we have better contacts, we're able to get it without losing our food source.
Right, right. Because yours truly wanted a sweet potato, and I called a couple. In the whole country, there are 6 plants that make pet food.
Something like that, yeah.
In the whole country, right? And they make for everybody.
Yep.
So these guys will go to them and say, "Here's my formula. I'm going to put my quality guy in there. Here's my ingredients. Blah blah blah." But then after they make his, they clean the machines, and they may make mine, or they may make
Right.
somebody else's.
Yep.
Right? It's in the whole country. It's pretty scary, actually.
Yeah, and there's a brand new facility that was just built in South Carolina, and that's where our food product is made.
Ah, okay. So yours is made on the East Coast in
That's
South
correct.
Carolina, and then you have another plant
On the West Coast.
On the West
Yep.
Coast, which is great for shipping.
Right, for shipping. We don't have to go right across, split the United States in half,
Right.
and our product stays fresher.
Right, right. How long is the shelf life on a bag of dry food?
1 year.
Which
1
is-
year.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not using the food in 1 year, it's,
Correct, correct. I know a lot of the standard, I believe, was 18 months.
Yeah,
And I think you're starting to see it now. Everyone's kind of going to the 1 year.
as they
with
put more
different
and more
products.
natural
Correct.
stuff into it, and,
Right.
and fewer chemicals.
Yep.
Now, why I like the canned food is because the shelf life is like 9,000 years. Right?
I think it's different with a pop top. I'm not sure.
Oh.
You know, we don't do pop tops.
You don't do. Oh, right. Right,
'Cause
right,
I think
right,
it
right,
seals
right.
a little better. You
Right.
get a better.
It's interesting you
this.
don't do a pop top.
I think in manufacturing, I think is probably more money.
It is more
So,
money.
I mean, we're
on
trying to
some
keep
of
the
ours,
price
we
down.
have pop tops.
Yeah.
It's my cost is 2 cents a can.
Yeah. So
So
it
it's
does
20
help
that's-
with the cost a little bit because, as
Right.
you know, with our product line and our ingredient list, we're already on the high end anyway. So
Right,
and I think it stores better.
right. That I don't know. So let's talk about. We always
Our cat.
Yes.
Our cat food. Just again, limited ingredient diet,
Yep.
just like in the dog food.
Yep.
Really for the same reasons. Cats, the hair balls, the different allergies they develop. We really put a lot of omegas in it, as you've probably talked about in the past. Really help with the skin and coat, so when they're licking themselves, the hair stays where it should be, which is on the skin and not in their stomach.
Right.
So it really helps with the hair balls. So that's why we have a limited ingredient line. Same with cats.
Yeah.
We have the salmon, we have a duck and potato,
Yep.
with green pea and duck, and we have a chicken. And the last thing we just came out with is our alpha line.
Oh, right. That's new.
That's new for us.
Right.
And it's a 3 protein instead of 1, which is like the salmon you have.
Yeah.
We have a 3 protein product now, and it also has fruits and vegetables, and it's really a mix of everything put together.
Right.
And we have it for cats and we have it for dogs.
So now that's for dog. That's for because as much as I love, most dogs don't have allergies.
That's correct. That's
Right.
correct. They don't always need to be grain-free.
Right.
But I'm a firm believer, just like you, if you start off your dog with healthy ingredients,
Yeah.
you're going to just give the dog the optimum length of time in that breed.
Right.
If you give them this good stuff all the way through,
Yeah.
you're just giving them a chance to live
Yeah.
to his breed length,
Yeah.
pretty much. You know, I have a 16-year-old Golden at home.
How old?
16 years old.
Wow.
And we just put down a 16-year-old Basset. They've always been on a
I've
natural
never heard
diet.
of a Basset living 16 years.
Oh,
That's
I know,
insane.
I know. And everyone says the same with the Golden.
Right.
12, 13 years
Right.
is breed
Right.
length.
Right.
But they've always been on a good, healthy, natural diet. And
Yeah.
I think that just given them everything in his body to live as long as he can.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in it. And if you're out
you-
there, folks,
Are you getting another Basset?
we still have one. We did Basset Rescue for many
Oh, you
years.
did?
So
Oh, okay.
he was our last failure
Yeah,
because
yeah.
once it came in the house, we couldn't let it go.
Right.
So he's our last one. So we have one Basset and one Golden.
Yeah.
But folks, if you're out there, give them the healthy stuff right from the get-go, and you're just going to get the longevity out of your dog.
Right. There's one other thing that I want to ask you about. This is why I love talking to him. You use salmon meal in here first. In all yours, you use meal
Yes.
rather than the whole meat. And
Correct.
Please,
Actually,
please
you'll see
explain why.
You'll see it in both forms.
Right.
With meal is we use the salmon or chicken, let's say, as a protein. When you take the moisture out of it, the government says you must call it meal because you've done something to the product. So when you take all the moisture out of it and reduce it down, you got a pure protein now.
Right.
There's no water in it. So if you had a pound of chicken breast and reduced it down, now you can put a lot more protein per weight because there's no water in it. It's reduced down. And we also put it back in its natural form also in our ingredient list. So you're getting it 2 ways. You're getting a great super protein without the water, and then again is its natural source.
Because I always have, I have, this is really important. You can go to Costco or some other place, pick up a bag of stuff that says salmon meal in it.
Correct.
You can also pick up yours that says salmon meal. Why is theirs $20 a bag and yours or mine or whatever is $40 or whatever a bag?
Well, the real difference is the way it's processed,
Right.
along with this. Look, for us in salmon, it can be processed 2 ways as a fish. You can use the natural variety, or you can use man-made chemical to process it.
Right.
We use only the natural ingredients to process the salmon, so it's much healthier, but it costs more.
Right. And the way it's the quality of what goes in, and I like to use the analogy, you can buy steak that's $2.99 a pound, and you can buy steak that's $20 a pound, right? Or Kobe, whatever, it's $50 a pound, right? So the better companies, and this is what's screwy about our government, the government will not let you put on there the quality of the salmon meal that you use.
That you buy in the first place, right?
Right. Why? I don't know who makes up these rules. So this is not good for the consumer. The consumer can't see that your salmon meal is 94% digestible, and the other guy's is only 50% digestible.
Right.
And that makes the whole difference in the food, is how digestible is the meal.
Right, and the cost on the back end, because a lower grade is cheaper.
Right.
Yep.
So they call a better one is called a low ash meal. When they cook it and they take the moisture out, there's less ash.
Yes.
So the higher ash is the stuff that you find in the lower end foods, and you look at that label and it looks like your label, but it ain't your label.
Right.
It's a huge difference.
Yep.
So now you even came out with all these biscuits and stuff, which are right. We saw tons of them.
Oh yeah, like we have a living ingredient line of foods, but we also came out with our healthy bone line, which is a whole different line. It's not grain free, but it's using really healthy grains as a mix to give your dog just a great variety of fruits and vegetables.
Yep.
We do use proteins in it. This one has lamb in it, lamb and carrot, but it's great proteins along with great vegetables. Mostly, there is some fruits in it
But
too.
there is no wheat. So
That's
the
correct.
big deal for me is grain-free.
And it's baked.
You know what? Between me and you, when did they decide that all grains are bad and that potatoes are better than grains?
Whoever does good marketing.
Right. So my customers are sick of me hearing that, but
Yep.
it's whoever does good marketing.
That is correct.
Now, we are running out of time. We have to. Is it time to say goodnight, Dick? Yeah, real soon. All right. Okay. So anyway, this has quinoa in it. I love quinoa.
Yes.
It's my favorite, which is not a grain, by the way.
No, it's not.
All right. Say goodnight, everybody. Say
Nice
goodnight,
meeting
Mark.
you, folks. If you have any questions, come to one of the stores. Look for Dave. Look for the demonstrators. Myself. If you're coming into this store, I'll be happy to answer any questions on dog food.
He's leaving right here, and he's going to get a haircut. Good night, everybody.
Good night.